show is brought to you by Perez Tire Center, Aces Bail Bonds, Miranda & Sons Automotive, Bridgeport Auto Glass, Ramirez Spanish Restaurant, Tito's Barbershop, JC Tire Center, Rancho Patanal Brazilian Restaurant, and Luz de Paz Funeral Home.
Walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight.
From New York City, weighing 235 pounds, Paul Roma.
Here comes Paul Roma going up against the Warlord, Tony Schiavone, along with Lord Alfred Hayes, coming to you from Duluth, Minnesota, where certainly young Paul Roma really has his hands full.
A big test for this young man. Paul Roma, he's a fine wrestler.
Agile, fast, and Mr. Perfect too, according and he's exploding here on this one, two.
Hey, what's up, you guys, and welcome to Super Elite Entertainment. It's your boy Jason Rodriguez, and we are here back in the studio one more time for another exclusive interview, for another great episode. Listen, I want to encourage each and every one of you that are watching right now via Facebook Live. First of all, I want to thank you for tuning in. Secondly, I want to encourage each and every one of you that are watching to please click that like button. Please click that share button and share this live broadcast onto your timeline. Tonight, we're going to have a really, really good time. I'm excited. I don't know about you, but I'm excited because of the visitors or the guests that we have on the show tonight. We have Paul Roma, WWF former wrestler. We have Mario Mancini and also Paul Perez. You know, three WWF greats from the 80s and 90s, man, in the studio tonight. So I'm excited. This is my first interview with three guests at one time. So we're going to have some fun. We're going to see how this goes. Without further ado, I'm going to bring in my guests, Mr. Paul Roma,
Yes,
Mario
sir.
Mancini, and Paul Perez. How you doing, Paul?
I'm good. How are you?
All right. Well, listen, man, I'm excited to have you guys here in the studio tonight.
Well, we're excited to be here. You know, we heard a lot about this show, and we wanted to bring some class to it. So that's why
I
better
like
leave.
I like that. So, how you guys feeling tonight? How you doing?
Good.
Glad to be here.
Good.
All right. Now, just this past Saturday, I attended one of your events. You guys have what's called what's the name of your wrestling company?
Paradise Alley Professional Wrestling.
Paradise Alley Professional Wrestling. You guys put on events on a monthly basis, I believe.
We do.
And every event that you put on has a cause or a good reason behind it.
Correct.
It's always a fundraiser to support some kind of agency or association, something that's out there in the community.
Giving back.
Giving back.
Right.
So tell us about your wrestling school. Break it down, what it is that you guys do, what it is that you guys offer, and then we'll work our way up from there.
Well, Paradise Alley's been open about 5 years now, just about 5 years. And between the three of us and Big Steve, we've known each other for over 30 years. So, we opened up Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling School initially, of course, until we got enough wrestlers in to start a show. It's kind of like, getting a few baseball players in until you get 9 to play a game, So once we got enough wrestlers in, we started putting on the shows. And Roma here is the head instructor of the school, and he is the producer of the shows, the booker, and he is the creativity of what you see in that ring, storylines and so forth. Perez is in charge of production as far as the logistics, and sometimes he hangs with me on Monday nights because 3 of us are the only ones that teach. For example, if you came in and said you wanted to be a pro wrestler, you start with me. Once I see that I've done everything I can do for you, then I pass you on to Roma. So it's kind of like building a house.
Yeah.
I lay the concrete, I lay the foundation. Once my foundation is laid, then Roma builds the house, puts up the walls, and the roof and the shingles, and
what we do, we all contribute. So.
Right.
He starts him out with Paul, and then, since Paul is, 15 generation wrestler? Second, okay. So he's 2nd generation wrestler. But what's important is that he critiques them, he sharpens them, hones their skills. So everybody has a hand in it. There's no one person that makes it all happen. And that's what's important, and why the school has become so successful.
Now, let's make it clear is that, first of all, you're not just any teacher, you're not just any instructor, you're not just any coach or trainer. I want to make it really, really clear. You guys bring some amazing experience into your school. You're Paul Roma. I mean, you wrestled on the biggest platform in the wrestling industry, WWF. I mean, I understand we have WWE, I believe you were a part of, and a couple of other establishments that exist. But you wrestled on the biggest platform in wrestling history, WWF, and so did you, Mario and Paul Perez. And so you guys bring in a lot of knowledge, a wealth of knowledge into your school, into your establishment. So I just want to make that clear. You guys, I mean, you fought King Kong Bundy, I believe. You made your pro debut against King Kong Bundy, didn't you?
No, my pro debut was against Greg Valentine.
Oh, okay, but your pro debut, you were what, like 17, 18?
I was 18 years and 6 weeks old, but I was Bundy's debut.
Oh,
I was his first one.
Gotcha. So with someone coming into your school with zero knowledge of wrestling, but they have that desire, that interest of getting involved in the sport, what would you say would be the best thing for them to do in order to get started?
Well, first off, we have to see what they have. If they have the ability to take a bump, let's take it, and that's what I'm there for, because nobody's taken more bumps than I have. Obviously if they take a bump and they knock themselves out, or they get up and go, wow, that really hurt, or, I didn't know it was going to be like this, maybe it wasn't for them, then thank God the majority, they just keep bumping until they get it right. We critique them until they get it right. And when they get it right, they go, you know what, not bad. And then we just go on to beals and ropes and turnbuckles, and we just go from there.
Yeah, but our school is much more than that. So what we bring, 33 years we've known each other, 33 years. What we bring to our school is not just that. We build a real friendly family environment that, we look out for everybody, all our students. What we also do is we teach them, if they don't have it, what we do is teach them respect. You show respect to everybody as soon as you walk through that door. And again, that's what's important, because that's what's lacking in today's world. Another thing we do, which no other school gives, is ring psychology. If you don't know what it is, then you can't teach it. And I don't know that any other school around that teaches ring psychology, especially in this area. So that being said, it's not just, you come in, you learn how to wrestle. We prepare you for life. I mean, we tell you, we give you all the ins and outs of what goes on, and it's not that easy to become a wrestler, and you just don't put the left in front of the right, and then we throw you in the ring and you put a costume on and you wrestle. That's not it. It's more than that, especially at our school. I don't know about these other schools, but at Paradise Alley, it's much, much more than that. And, we pride ourselves in turning out, quality. And we've not, I don't think any of us can say that we've disappointed anybody or ourselves.
When it comes to the sport of wrestling, I call it a sport. And the reason why I say it's a sport is because there's a lot of agility that goes into it. A lot of people, you hear people, not tend to say, but people always say that the sport is fake.
Right.
And I understand their point of view when they say that the sport is fake. But when I look at it, I don't look at it as something that's fake, because the level of agility, the level of strength, the level of energy that you put into the sport. I see guys, for example, this past Saturday at your event, when they stepped out of the ring, they stepped out of there with, I seen some cuts, I seen some bruises, I seen some damage on bodies. So to me, that's not fake. I mean, there's something behind that. So when you hear someone say it's fake, what is your response in regards to the sport of wrestling?
Well, I mean, every move is real. It's just put to a theatrical level, to say it best. So when they ask me that, what I ask them is this: is a stunt real or is it fake? And like, what do you mean? I said, well, a guy jumps off, a building from 10 stories and he's landing on an airbag. So is it real or is it fake? So, you'll get different answers. Some say real, some say fake. Well, the correct response to that is it's real, because if there's a percentage that he can miss that airbag, if there's a percentage that the airbag could, not deploy or lose its air on impact, and he gets hurt, then guess what? It's real. And anything we do, jumping off the ropes, hitting the ropes could break. You could get slammed awkwardly. You get clothesline, get hit in the throat, bust your head open. It's real. So you know what? I leave it to them. If they think it's fake, then to them it's fake. If they think it's real, then it's real. It's up to whatever they want. I'm not going to argue with them. But at the end of the day, if it wasn't real, then everybody would do it.
If I was to take that chair that's right there, that folded chair, and slap you across the head with it, there's a possibility I can give you a concussion.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
There's a possibility that I can draw some blood out of your head.
Right.
So, and I see that happening at your events. I've seen people, people get hit with chairs, tables.
Right.
That's real to me.
Well, yeah. Well, people think we gimmick them up so they bend or something breaks, but they're not gimmicked up.
Or it's aluminum foil.
Or it's aluminum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So my next question for you guys is, how did you get started in the sport of wrestling? At what point did you discover the desire to become a professional wrestler? Now, I'm sure you started off, probably wrestling in your backyard for all I know. Wrestling with your brother or your sister, whatever the case may be.
You want me to tell it?
I think you better start with Paul, and we'll work our way down.
You want me to tell it, or do you want to tell your own story?
This is going to be exciting. This is going to be exciting. This is going to blow your mind.
I'll tell Roma's story. Go ahead.
So go ahead, Paul.
Well, I started watching my dad. My dad and my mom both worked. They were both in the business. And my dad would teach guys to work in our basement. And I was 12, 13 years old, 14 years old. And I learned how to work because my dad was getting older. He goes, all right, get in the ring with this guy and, do this, or help him with this and help him with that. And by the age of 16, I was already wrestling. I was already being asked by promoters, I wanted to use him. And my dad's like, no, he's still in school. He's only a freshman in high school or a sophomore in high school.
So you started at what age again?
16. I started learning in the ring when I was 12, 13, 14 years old. My dad was teaching guys in our basement.
Oh, okay.
And I would help them out. So.
Mario.
In 1980, Vince McMahon was sitting in an empty arena. Was sitting in an empty arena with Bruno Sammartino. And it was midnight on a Saturday night, and he said, Bruno, we're here tonight because you have something to tell the fans. And I was sitting there on the floor. You know, I was 14, and my mother and father were there, and my brothers and sisters, because we loved wrestling. So he said, you have something to tell the fans. And he said, I'm retiring. My last match will be against George Animal Steel at Shea Stadium. And I just stared at the screen, and I looked at my family, and I said, I'm going to be a pro wrestler. I'm going to do that. And they laughed at me. I said, no way, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be a pro wrestler.
Wow.
So it was 83, and there's another funny story behind that, but it was 83, and we were like second row on the floor in the New Haven Coliseum.
Okay.
And this referee was walking into the ring, and my father stood up because he was in an earshot, and he goes, Tony! Tony! And Tony Altomar turned around and he said, hey, Ralph, Gloria, how you doing? I said, you know him? And he said, yeah, that's Tony Altomar. I went to grammar school with him. That's the Stanford Stomper. You know, he was a pro wrestler, and he was a lifeguard in Stanford. So then the next New Haven, I stood and waited outside for him. And I said, I want to be a wrestler. And he goes, are you Ralph and Gloria's kid? I go, yeah. He goes, no. Then I went to the Hartford Civic Center. I waited for him. And he said, you came up to Hartford? I said, yeah. Then finally I went to the Garden. Now picture me, I just got my license, not too long. It took me 4 hours to find the Garden.
Small place.
Couldn't find it.
Probably couldn't find the Empire State Building either.
I couldn't. I wouldn't have been able to find that either. I was just a kid. He thought I was a lunatic following him all the way down there. And then he finally said to me, meet me at the Coliseum next month. And I met him at the Coliseum, and Harry Fuji was there. And, Fuji beat the living hell out of me. He actually took my face, and he was scraping it back and forth into the canvas. Back and forth, back and forth.
Did the rug burn on your face?
Yeah, and when I got out, there was a little bit of blood stuff, and Altomar said, how do you like it? After a couple hours, he went, how do you like it now? I go, when can I come back? And he goes, listen, I'm opening up a wrestling school in Orange, Connecticut in October. The first Saturday of October, why don't you be there, at 9 o'clock. First Saturday in October, I went. 9 o'clock, I went to wrestling school from October of '83 until July of '84, and then I turned pro.
Wow.
I graduated high school June 20th. I turned 18 June 21st. I turned pro on July 31st.
Of what year?
84.
84, wow.
Was that a rib?
Well, my story is nowhere near like this. All right, so I knew nothing about wrestling. I thought it was all bullshit, and I was asked to get into it, and I did. 6 weeks later, I turned pro. Done. That was it.
Yeah, I want you to notice something. I want you to take recognition of something. Perez said he started training 12, 13, 14. When he was 16, they started asking him to work. I told you I went to wrestling school from October of '83 to July of '84. 6 weeks. It took him 6 weeks to learn, and then he turned pro.
But again, I had a reason for it. I wasn't looking. Well, let me retract that. I had a reason for it, and so once I put my mind to something, it took off for me, and that's what I did. And I wanted to be a role model for kids. Stay away from drugs and drinking and getting in trouble and doing all that, and that's what I did. And so I didn't have much time to spare. It had to get done quick. The only thing I ran into, which is obviously the biggest obstacle and probably the biggest mountain to climb, is that you don't control your own destiny. The WWF controls your own destiny if you work for them. So it doesn't matter how you look, how great you are. If you don't have a father, an uncle, a sister, a mother, somebody before you that wrestled, then chances are it's going to be a real difficult road to walk on and a really probably the biggest mountain you'll ever have to climb. So, for what I obtained in wrestling, for the notoriety that I got for myself, I can't complain. At the end of the day, I had no one before me. I had no ties in the wrestling business whatsoever. So, you know what? I'm good with it. So let me just put it to this way to your fans. So for all you couch potatoes that are sitting out there that watch wrestling, and you could say you could do it better than this guy, or you knock some guy that keeps getting beat, coming up in the ranks, it's not up to him. So you know what? Stay home. Keep eating your potato chips on your sofa. Keep getting fat or fatter, all right? Because you can't get to where we got to. You just can't. That's why you're sitting at home watching it, and we lived it.
For example, with yourself, Paul, Roma, you had, I think in the WWF, about 135 bouts?
Oh, I don't know.
You were on pay-per-view. I think I read somewhere like 17 different times.
Still no idea.
You're
throng numbers at
Three
me.
WrestleManias, right?
They mean nothing to me.
3 WrestleManias.
He tells me. He reminds me.
So I think I'm almost accurate with what I'm saying. But the thing is, you have great accomplishments. You have done a lot in the industry, in the sport of wrestling.
All right, so that's what people see, yeah? Some people. And the couch potatoes, they don't. But that's okay. But what I really became successful with was charity. And that's what was important to me. That's what it was all about. Did you have to get paid? Yeah, I wasn't going to turn down a paycheck. Let's face it. You go to the WrestleManias or the Starcades or for WCW, whatever. Great. But at the end of the day, there was a reason for what I did, and I'm just, I don't know, kind of sad that I couldn't go even further to do more for these kids, but to visit children's hospitals and become a spokesperson for St. Jude Foundation. That's what it was all about. So at the end of the day, I could sit here happy. I walked away from wrestling on my terms, at my leisure, and I'm good with it. So happy days.
He literally is the only person I've ever known that had he got into a business that he knew nothing. He knew the moves, but he didn't know. This is a true story. Took him to Poughkeepsie for the first time. It was his first time ever in the WWF locker room. And he's sitting there. He's quiet, he's just watching. And Hogan walks by. And he goes, "Who's that?" I go, "What?"
Wow.
True story.
He goes, "Who is that?" I said, "That's Hulk Hogan, that's heavyweight champion." He goes, "That's the big blonde guy, he's the heavyweight champion." I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh." I mean, he just didn't know who Hogan was.
Wow.
Didn't know who he was. So I literally knew in ring, but as far as the history of the business, if you were to say Anthony Naraka to him or, Lou Fez, he'd be like, "Yeah, who?"
Right.
You know what I mean? Whereas most wrestlers, most pro wrestlers grew up as marks.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, we're all still marks. So, you know what I mean? If you talk to me and say, what were you watching? I was watching, Ernie Ladd. I was watching, Greg Valentine, the Mighty Igor, Baron Miguel Cicluna, Baron Von Raschke, Bruno Sammartino.
Oh, yeah.
He-Stacks Calhoun, Gorilla Monsoon.
Jimmy Superfly?
No.
No?
Well, 83.
Okay.
83. And, and the funny thing about that, I still have that on the VHS tape, that steel cage match, where Snuka came off the top of the cage. I got, who ended up being a really good friend of mine, I actually cried when this guy got fired because we became so tight. But I used to hate Don Morocco. I hated him. I couldn't stand him. He did his job. He was a heel, and he got me to hate him. I was a mark. And like I said, I'd get on the floor seats in New Haven, and he'd come out to the ring. I'd leave my seat and go near the steel barricade. I'm going to beat your ass, Morocco. I'm going to beat your ass. Finally, about 8 months after I was in, I'm actually in a car with Morocco. And he's going, did you work another territory? I go, no. And he goes, how old are you? I go, 18. He goes, wow. I didn't know you from somewhere. I go, no, we never met. Now my legs were shaking. I'm like, this guy's going to kill me. But I got that close to him at one point. It was right after I was coming back from the ring and he was coming in Poughkeepsie, and he pushed me. And he said, push me back. And he pushed me again, and he goes, push me back harder. And then he pushed me a third time. He goes, really give me a push. I gave him a really big push. And then Gino, Roma, opened up that steel door and said, Mancini, get your ass in here. Right? So when he came back, and I said, Donnie, what was that all about, man? Why did you do that? He goes, right place, right time, you never know. I'm just trying to help you. So I knew he really liked me, so I had a guilty conscience. And I finally told him one day, I said, Donnie, where you know me from? And this is like at the end of '85,
Wow.
It was like, where you know me from? And he said, no, and I told him, and he was, oh, you son of a bitch, right? But in the classic wrestler style, when you least expect it, we're sitting there in the dressing room, and he comes and he sits next to me, and he goes, hey, did you get a Diet Coke over there? I go, no, not yet. He goes, you really should get it. Boom! And he gives me this big chop right in my chest. Hard. And I went, oh. He goes, you know what that was for, right? I said, yeah, I do.
Wow.
But,
yeah, they were great guys.
Oh,
there were a lot of great guys.
A lot.
But those were the old timers.
Yeah, a lot.
And then, even though I didn't know them, I got to know them. All the respect for them, and it made a world of difference once that happened. But again, he was right. I was put into, everything I did in my life was real. That I had control over, whether it was playing football or bodybuilding or kickboxing or you get in a street fight, right? And this was a whole new world, a different world. But again, a lot of the guys in this business were legit, right? I mean, you had guys that were gold medalist winners in the Olympics, and football players, guys that, won bronze in judo, and I respected all that. I had a lot of respect for them.
Just people that like to fight.
Yeah, people like to fight. And then there were a lot of scumbags.
Billy Jack Haynes,
Yeah, Billy Jack. But then there were a lot of scumbags that in the business that, you had to watch for, and they're, it just became it was probably the worst dog-eat-dog business that you could probably ever get into, or, whatever you want to say, company.
It was a whore business.
Job.
It was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Well, I can imagine. But
It was bad.
my next question for you is, when you look at the sport of wrestling, everyone's physique in the sport is, the majority of the guys their physique is amazing. Same way you were, 80s, 90s.
Not even close. Not even close.
But,
Boy, you
not
just
even
stepped on your tongue.
Not even close.
You just opened up Pandora's
Not
box.
all
even
right, well,
close.
let's go in there.
Not even
You want to go
close.
Pandora's box?
Let's go in there.
Okay.
Not even close.
There's not one wrestler out there today that pound for pound could handle me back in my day. They just can't. That's the way it was. It's the way that it is. And I train harder than anybody. I gave 100%, not 101 or 110. I gave 100%. And I had a reason. I had a driving force. So I had to be better than everybody. I had to look better than everybody. I had to jump higher than everybody. I had to be stronger than everybody. So that's how it was. So if you're going to, throw that out there and compare me to these slobs that are out there today, you got to stop talking. I'll leave the podcast.
Yeah. Listen, this is what I want you to do. Okay. There's two jobs they can have, the wrestlers today. And you know what? No disrespect. They're in today's business, today's product. And no disrespect to Vince McMahon, but it's a horrible product, number one. Number two, you can interchange these wrestlers today. And what I mean by this is you can either put them in the ring with today's wrestling, or you can put a bow tie on them and they could be a Chippendales dancer because they're all 195 pounds, okay, or 205, okay, or 185. And, you know, if they were here right now, they might go, oh, because, you know, we don't take that stuff. Well, a lot of us didn't take that stuff, just worked hard. You know what I mean? So, you know,
and not just that, the guys today, you could take one out and replace them, and nobody's going to miss them.
Right.
Whereas back in our day, you know, you had storylines. You have storylines today, but if you took a guy out, you know, back in our day,
well, they had personas back in those days.
Right.
They were bigger than life. They were larger than
right.
life. Not like today.
I mean, you had to build a whole new storyline around the new guy that's coming in.
Yeah.
I mean, now today, get rid of them. People forget about them in a week.
Yeah.
So my question is, and I'm going to ask because I'm just going to ask. In order to look the way you used to look, and to look the way most of the wrestlers look today, right? Do you need steroids? Do you need to shoot up steroids?
No.
That's my question.
Absolutely not. You got to get in the gym every day, train for a good hour, eat right. Obviously, you got to eat right. You have to supplement. And we had that luxury. You know, I said it to Hercules once. And we cut a video at Vince's house about working out, and when we got done with the shoot, he says to me, he goes, "Man, what you said to me in there," he says, "You're absolutely right." And I said, "Well, I said a lot of things, but what exactly was it?" He goes, "You said this is the life. It doesn't get any better than this." He said, "Think about it. We fly to a town, we check into our hotel room, we get a bite to eat, we go to the gym and train, and then we go perform. And then tomorrow, we're going to go do the same thing all over again. And we're going to provide for our family. So how does it get better than this?" You're absolutely right. You know, today, those guys, do they go to the gym and train? Looking at most of them, I say no. You know what I mean?
They're swimmers.
I say no.
They're swimmers.
They're swimmers. You know, what are they doing? Rubber bands in the locker room to get a pump? They're throwing water on themselves to look like they sweat? Listen. These guys, back in our day, everybody trained. Every day. You walk into a gym in a town and it was consumed with all the wrestlers that were on that card. It's just how it was.
I'm going to give you an example. I've done a lot of interviews. I mean, I've probably done 100, which is a lot for a guy my caliber for the career I've had. I've done a lot. And it's ironic. It's just a coincidence that he's sitting next to me. Tonight, he's normally not, but I'll say the same thing that I said without him here. Paul Roma's the greatest athlete I've ever seen in my life. Pick your sport, baseball, football. You know what? His balance was so freakish. The balance that he had. If he played hockey, he would have gave Gretzky a run for his money. I've never seen anybody have that kind of balance before in my life. He holds the pro wrestling record for the highest drop kick in the history of pro wrestling. So I'm going to give you an example.
I paid him for this.
Yeah. No. I'm not, listen.
So you know.
I am going to give you an example now. And later on, from 88 to 92, I was a competitive powerlifter. But prior to that, I would squat, and I would do my knee extensions, and I would do my legs, and I'd walk away proud. Roma goes, "We're in the gym somewhere on the road." He goes, "Yeah, do legs with me." I said, "Yeah, okay." Let me tell you something. I'm embarrassed to tell you, and guys laugh at me every time. I was in a chair for 3 days. I slept there too, because I couldn't walk. And my mother would pull up the ottoman and sit on it and rub Bengay on my legs. I couldn't walk for 3 days. I did legs with Roma. Okay, I couldn't walk for 3 days. He goes to Vince McMahon. He goes, "You want to train with me?" Vince goes, "Yeah, no." Vince McMahon's a big guy. Bodybuilder kind of guy in his own right? Roma saw him 3 days later. It was, "Vince, you want to train again?" He went, "Screw you." So there's an example of how hard you know, how hard he really did train in the gym, you know, with taking vitamins. You know what I mean? You don't need that stuff. Well, listen, I was always happy for Paul because you know what? I would look at him and say, he paid the freight. I was only 18. I was baby Huey. He paid the freight. He spent the hours in the gym. He was disciplined. He did everything he had to do in order to get the body that he had. Don't take that away from him because that was a huge sacrifice. You know what I mean? So,
well, and ain't so much even that. Well, taking it away from me, it's don't compare me.
Yeah.
To these other, and we'll use a term that's used in wrestling, these jabronis.
Yeah.
They didn't put in the man hours that I put in, and they sure the hell don't have the drive that I have. They don't have the discipline that I have, even to this day. I mean, you know, I'm going to be 60 years old, and I could still run these guys and blow them up in the ring. But, you know, again, they didn't have that I have to be the best attitude at everything that I did. It's just the way that I was built, and I had a reason for it. So what's their reason? They want to become stars. They'll wrestle for the WWF or WWE now for free. I wouldn't. And I tell them that. You're crazy. Oh, but it's a WWE. Doesn't matter. You got to pay your bills.
That's right.
You got to have respect for yourself. You know, if they're not going to pay you, go to somebody else and work for them. They're not the end all of everything, and that's how I see it. So that's how it was then. That's how it is now. We have a great organization, PAPW. We have great teachers in there. But again, we're not just teaching the art and the skills of wrestling. We're teaching about life. And because, you know, moms and dads are working now, they don't have time for their kids. So you know what? When they send them to us, we give them our time.
Probably one of the greatest things that Roma says to a parent that brings a kid into the wrestling school on a Wednesday night to check it out is he'll look that parent dead in the face and say, if he joins, he'll understand a level of respect and he'll be a much better person once I'm done with him. And that's always the truth, always.
But it ain't just me. I mean, he's pointing it at me, but it's not just me. It's these guys. They don't take any crap from anybody. And if you don't fall into place, guess what? There's a door. You can use it.
There's many times Roma had to calm me down, not to kill any of these guys. Don't get so mad. But
you know, they're young. They're learning. We get it. You know, and there's, like I said, there are some parents that can't control their kids. You walk through that door, we will control you. Once you leave, we can't control that, but we can at least try and put you down the right road and, you know, open the right doors. So
excellent. And with that said, we're just going to take a quick break, all right? So again, for you guys that are watching right now live via Facebook, I encourage you to stay tuned. We'll be back momentarily with
come back. Don't
Wrestling
be a jabroni.
Greats.
Don't
Wrestling
be a
Greats.
jabroni.
Paul Roma, Mario Mancini, and Paul Perez. We'll be back momentarily. Super League Entertainment live on Facebook.
Despair over auto glass repair. For rapid, reliable auto glass replacement and repair, trust Bridgeport Auto Glass with over 25 years experience. We do all glass replacement, windshields, mirrors, door glass, sunroofs. For cars and a wide variety of trucks, we'll get you back on the road fast. Same day and mobile service available. Our fully licensed technicians can come to you, serving both New Haven and Fairfield counties, credit cards and all insurance accepted. Bridgeport Auto Glass, skilled, efficient, and affordable.
You know that as a defendant, you have a right to bail? The 8th and 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution guarantee this. This is something that a reliable, licensed bail bondsman should know. The team at Aces Bail Bonds knows this and much more. For fast, reliable bail bond service, call Aces Bail Bonds now.
All right, welcome back to Super League Entertainment. It's your boy Jason Rodriguez, and we are here live in the studio, broadcasting with 3 former WWF wrestlers, Paul Roma, Mario Mancini, and Paul Perez here in the studio with me. Let me bring them into the picture. We're back, guys.
We're back.
So far, so good?
Yeah.
So far, so good.
All right, so really quick, I just want to acknowledge a couple of comments that people left on here. Someone named Paul Polino. Not sure you know who he is, but he says, I love PAPW. So we just want to acknowledge Mr. Paul, who's watching live via
Paul.
Facebook.
Thank you.
We definitely truly appreciate you tuning in, Paul. Also, we have another Paul. I'm sorry, it was David Polino. David Polino is the one that said I love
He can't get it right,
PAPW.
David. We're acknowledging you, man. Good job.
Paul Garino
There
is
you
the
go.
other gentleman. I don't know what he means by this, but he said Louis Bassini.
Who?
Louis Bassini.
Louis Bassini. Anybody know Louis Bassini?
Nope.
No.
I don't know who he is, but Paul, I mean, give us some more details, all right? And also, Bob Glessler also says, you know who he is?
Yep.
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 He's
He was a
watching
student
right
back
now.
in the day.
Yeah, he's watching right now. He says, awesome
Layton.
guys.
Oh, Bobby Layton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so, we're back from the commercial break, and again, we have Mr. Paul Roman.
Roma.
Roma.
I'm gonna
The
hit this
Romanator,
guy.
the
You know that?
Romanator.
Is it okay if I hit him? I won't hit him too hard.
Wait a minute.
I
I
only
know.
knock out 3 or 4 teeth. No good.
Listen, I don't wrestle, so I don't want you to hit me. Mario Mancini and Paul Perez. So let's get back to where we left off at, man. We were talking about comparing you to the ones that are in the industry today.
Yes, and we acknowledge that. We've all agreed.
There is no comparison.
There's no comparison. So we're good now.
Yeah. We could move. What's the
Fans
next
all
question?
heard that. Let's
Next
move
question.
on. Let's move on. We're getting a lot of people pissed right now. Look at that conceited guy. You're right. I am. Who cares? I don't care what they think. I never did then. I don't care now.
Okay. I learned that in the sport, when it comes to combat sport, trash talking sells. So were you a trash talker back in the day?
No, you mean in the locker room with the guys?
No, just, trash
out in
talking.
the ring?
Trash talking
Well,
about
that's
your opponent.
generally
Oh,
what pro
well, that's what we
wrestling
do.
is.
Yeah, so I'm just saying. I mean,
So, yeah,
is
I
that
mean-
something you enjoy doing?
Yeah, I enjoyed being a bad guy, if that's what you're asking me, better than a good guy. I just had to keep that status, so I could go into hospitals and talk to these kids and they know who I was. Other than that, it didn't matter good or bad. I did enjoy being a bad guy more than anything because I get to say what I want, I get to do what I want. A good guy, you got to be that Superman kind of thing. Take your ass whooping in the ring. You can't put your hand on the ropes. Well, now they do it, but they're a bunch of sissies. That's the story for another day. But yeah, so it's it's different. It's different now. A lot of things have changed now. Back then, you were a good guy. You took your ass whooping, and then you gave it back to the bad guy. A bad guy, he could bail out of the ring if the good guy's beating him up. So it was much more enjoyable being a bad guy. Did I trash talk? Yes. Out in the real world, definitely. In the wrestling world, I had respect for a good majority of the guys, and the ones I didn't have respect for, I just kind of stayed away from and just acknowledged them because I may have to work with them in the ring, and that was part of the business.
So my next question: what was your greatest match, your greatest fight, your greatest bout in your career?
Wow, staying alive. I don't have any one. If I had to say what was a really good match that stays in my head, but I don't know if it was the greatest match. Would probably be against the Rockers. We had some really good matches. Power and Glory against the Rockers. We had some really good matches. When it's deafening in a place, it's great. Now I don't know. It's weird. I listen to people say, "Hey, this was my greatest match ever," and I don't know. I find it kind of strange and hard to believe that you could pinpoint it. You've had so many matches, right, in our career, so many. How could you just pick that one? I mean, you're in the Pontiac Silverdome, right? How many people are there? You're in Toronto in the Sky Dome, and so was it great? I don't know. Memorable? Yes. The Rockers, it was a memorable match. The Islanders, another memorable team. People forgot about them for the most part.
Yeah.
Heart Foundation,
Yep.
you know, another good one. So there were quite a few. I don't think there's just one.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How about you, Mario?
You wrestled me.
Yeah.
Was that your greatest match ever?
Yeah, it was my greatest.
New Haven Coliseum.
That was my greatest vomiting display. Roma blew me up a little bit. So I don't know about a great match, but I'll tell you when a kind of a pivotal point for me. It started in Middletown, New York, and worked this way up upstate New York. Somebody got hurt. And I don't remember who, believe it or not, I don't remember who got hurt.
Wow.
But they were booked with Brett for those 9 days. And they got hurt and they couldn't make it. And I filled in for 9 days. And the first day I worked with Brett, I did nothing. I literally did nothing. He would just say, hang on to my arm. And he brought me all over the place. And I remember after the match sitting there, and Strongbow came up to me and he goes, what's wrong with you? I go, I don't know how to work. And he goes, what are you talking about? I said, I don't know I can't wrestle for nothing. I said, this guy just made me look like a fool. I don't know how to work. And he said, don't worry, you're fine. And by the 4th, 5th day into that, we were rocking and rolling. I felt really good, and I felt that I really established myself at that point to be able to hang with him, for him to look at me and shake my hand and go, it was great, thanks. You know what I mean? So I don't think listen, in my career, my 8-year career, are you ready?
Yes.
I won 3 matches. 3. But my greatest victory was in the New Haven Coliseum on September 11th, 1986, against Gino Carabello. The place was deafening, 15,000 people.
Wow.
Couldn't hear Howard Finkel announce my name as a winner, obviously because I'm from Milford. I was in the New Haven Coliseum, so it was like Hogan, right? Guy from Milford won. And I'll never forget going back in the dressing room and Skolin with that cigar in his mouth. He goes, hey, that was great, kid, good, very, 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 very good, kid, good pop. I said, Arnie, it was a good pop because I live 20 minutes down the road. I said, I promise you this. I had my hands together, I'll never forget it. I said, if I can just get the opportunity, one chance, I'll get them to pop like that in St. Louis. All I need is a chance. And that chance never came. But
How about you, Paul?
For me, it would be all of them because I always approached it as I wanted to have a good time. And no matter who I worked with, I had a great time. Worked with Dusty Rhodes, phenomenal. He was a great guy to work with. Big Boss Man.
Oh, yeah,
had a blast. Had a blast. I had a match with Big Boss Man where he tied Bobby Heenan, handcuffed Bobby Heenan to the railing. So I was just, along for the ride, but it was awesome. I worked with Jimmy Snuka 3 times, and every single time it was great. It was great to work with. So I approached every single one as, I'm going to go out there have a good time. But I think the match I enjoyed the most was with the Texas Tornado, Terry Von Erich, where he was like, all right, we're just going to go in there, have a good time. You're going to go in there and use me as a stepping stone, So it worked out really well, that he just wanted me to go in there like I was going over on him, So he goes, I want you to go into each match with that mindset.
Wow.
So, it's always a learning experience when you go in there, You go in there with Rhodes or Snuka or anybody, and you're going to learn because those guys have been around, for a long time.
Any of you ever fight Macho Man, Randy Savage? Wow.
6 times.
What was that experience like?
I hate him. He was an idiot. No. Listen, Randy was kind of, I call Flash Waller Savage. I call him Randy Savage because Randy also, he's very OCD, a very kind of nervous, jumpy guy. And you know, the biggest match I had with him was a stretcher just before WrestleMania. He threw me all the way around the arena. But, you know, I liked Randy because when I sat and would speak to Randy, I didn't talk wrestling. I talked baseball.
Oh, wow.
Because he was a AAA catcher. So I never spoke wrestling to Randy. I always talked about baseball with him, you know. So I always liked talking to him. He always liked talking to me. You know, by the sixth time, I got cranky, like toward 90, 91, I started growing these big cojones. So the last time I worked with him, I said, hey, can you do me a favor? Could you not overshoot me on that elbow and knock the wind out of me? Can you put your tricep on my chest? I mean, I did that to everybody. Went up to DiBiase. You really have to slap me that hard when you wake me up from that sleep. He goes, I didn't know. I go, well, you do. And you don't have to do it. Go up to Beefcake and go, listen, the back, even cut. Okay? If I hear those shears go in the front of my head, I'll wake right out of that sleeper. Until I have to cut the tape, I'll wake right up. They'll have to cut it off the TV. So I kind of, you know, but he was stiff with that elbow a lot of times. A lot of times I felt, I was angry, of course, I never expressed it because, you know, I was a jobber. But there were a lot of times that, the 3 or 4 times I worked with him where he came off that top rope recklessly. Like he was landing on a heavy bag. You know what I mean? And that's wrong for guys to do. You can't do that. So that last time I said, listen, don't overshoot me, you know? Your rib cage doesn't need to be my sternum.
Yeah.
You know, so, but other than that, he was okay. He was just a little over the top. And the thing with Randy is, most of the time, what the fans saw, was the same things we saw in the dressing room. It really, I'm not kidding. I mean, you talk to him, you're like, Roma go by him, you go, hey Roma, how you doing? You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was.
That was him. Yeah,
yeah,
wow.
he was the gimmick.
Yeah.
He really was the gimmick. You know. So he was an innovator. He was you know, again, I think he even looked better than guys today. You know what I mean? I think what he did in Spider-Man was wrong because it was visibly clear that whether it was steroids or human growth hormone, he was a monster.
Yeah, he was.
A monster.
Maybe it was creatine.
Well, yeah, monster.
Maybe some nitric oxide.
And unfortunately now he's passed away. And you know,
see, the way I see it is, if I didn't see it, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'll talk about what I saw. So.
He was huge. Maybe, you know, maybe he bulked up. He started eating, you know, a steak. I don't know, but he was huge.
He was.
But listen, he had a Poffo body. You know, Leaping Lanny Poffo, his brother, the biggest gentleman in the wrestling business you could ever meet. Leaping Lanny Poffo, one of the greatest guys you ever wanted to meet. Very soft-spoken, professional, clean. He didn't mess around. He didn't fool around. There were no drugs. There was no alcohol. There was nothing for Lanny, you know. But, you know, they had similar bodies, and Randy was just a little bigger than him. Again, a couple of swimmers, you know what I mean? But Randy, you know, his father was a wrestler, Angelo Poffo. So they had a birthright. Him and his brother had a birthright into the business.
Right.
Wow.
So did the Hearts.
So did the Hearts.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had a birthright in the business.
Right. The Rougeau.
So did the Rock. You know,
Rock.
His father.
Any Samoan.
And the dozens of bloodline Samoans that started with, this is what it started with. Because I do have the history because I was a mark.
Yep.
It started with High Chief Peter Maivia in the 70s. He was a wrestler. His legs were completely tattooed.
I met him.
Totally covered.
Just so you know.
High Chief. All right, High Chief Peter. It started with him and Rocky Johnson, the Samoans, the Cousins, all the way to Roman Reigns.
Right. But
Samoan family.
yeah, but in saying that, they brought a lot to the business.
Oh my God, they were like
So
royalty.
it's not like, you know, they were some jabroni family
Yeah, no.
that brought nothing to the table.
Oh, no.
You know, their work was outstanding.
No,
their work still is outstanding.
No, they're royalty.
Yeah, and you know, and rightfully so, they deserve it.
Yeah.
I mean, but again, you had other wrestlers that had family before them, and they had no rights being in that ring or getting the push that they got.
Ted Grizzly, Jake Roberts.
Right.
You know, so Bruno Sammartino, David Sammartino, Kurt Hennig. His father was Larry the Axe Hennig back in the 60s. You know what I mean? All these guys had birthrights, all of them.
Right.
So, who did you guys enjoy the most throughout your career to work with? Who did you enjoy working with the most?
DiBiase.
Ted DiBiase.
And Morocco. I wrestled Morocco in a house show in New Haven Coliseum. And he asked me if I could drop kick in the dressing room. I said, absolutely. So he had me in the headlock, and I threw him against the ropes, and I hit him with a drop kick, and I pivoted and went on my stomach, and he picked me up immediately and put me in a headlock takedown. And I'm down in the headlock takedown, and I go, Donnie, why did you do that? I just drop kicked you. How come you didn't sell it? He goes, you drop kicked me in the knees. He goes, I thought you said you could drop kick. I said, I lied. So, you know, and all he did was start, listen, he didn't squeeze my head and start punching my head. He laughed his head off. You know, I liked working with Ted. Was a bit snug to work with, but again, as I tell my students, this ain't badminton, it's pro wrestling. But he was a little snug, but I loved working with Ted. I think I broke the record working with Ted on TV. I worked with Ted on TV so much that the last time that we were up on the board, he actually went up to Pat Patterson and said, people are going to think these are repeats. And he looked back at me and said, no offense, kid. I said, none taken, but this is what DiBiase did to try to do for me. He looked at Pat and said, why don't we just run an ankle?
Yeah. No, Ted was a great wrestler.
You know what Pat, you know what Pat said? Nothing. Nothing. Again, DiBiase's father was a wrestler. You know what I mean? So, and now Ted's son is a wrestler.
Cowboy Bob Orton.
The Cowboy Bob Orton. Yeah. You got Randy Orton. You know what I mean? It goes right down to the women. Ric Flair's daughter, Neidhart's daughter.
Neidhart's daughter.
It's all.
Valentine.
Right. So when he says he's one of the rare ones that made it on his own merit, Roma. He had no bloodline, and he wasn't gay. So he
very valid point.
Right.
Well made.
Now, you know what? Since you mentioned it, how about and I believe you fought him multiple times. Adonis Stevenson. I mean, not Adonis. Adrian Adonis. Adrian Adonis.
Adrian Adonis wasn't gay. He had a wife. Gay. He had a wife that did his.
No, I'm just asking. That
Yeah.
That's why he could
role
pull.
he
that's
plays,
why he could pull off the character.
Yeah.
He wasn't. You know, he had fun with it. But yeah. No, I didn't wrestle Adrian that much.
I did.
You did?
Once or twice.
Okay.
Max.
Yeah, I did. I hated it.
I love this character.
I hated it. He wasn't friendly. Listen.
He wasn't friendly.
He wasn't friendly. In my position, which I appreciated a lot, obviously Roma goes without saying. I mean, 34 years, same wrestling school, same thing. Perez goes without saying. I mean, these are the closest people to me. Big Steve. The Guardian of Chaos. I met him 34 years ago. It goes without saying the people that are closest to me.
Although you big time them all.
I big time the Guardian of Chaos. There's guys like Tony Atlas, Tito Santana, Ted DiBiase, both Demolition, Barry and Billy. It was Bundy. When I see Wayne in a couple of months, Honky Tonk Man in June, it'll be a big reunion, big hug, and a lot of laughs. I have a lot of guys like that in my life. But there were certain guys that treated you like a jobber, reminded you that you were a jobber, and you were just you were as low as a piss boy that carried a piss bucket.
Can you define For the people that don't know what jobber is, what does that mean?
Well, now they call them enhancement.
Yeah.
So you go out there and you're told to lose,
Yeah.
and you make the guy look good. So
Right.
you're doing a job
Right.
for that guy.
Right.
That's really what, now they call them enhancement matches instead of calling the guy a jobber.
Right.
Maybe it's not politically correct.
Yes.
Who cares? Still losing at the end of the day.
Yeah. I like being called a jobber. I'm going to tell you why. You watch an episode of Seinfeld, right?
Yes.
All 4 characters are at the table in the diner, right?
Yes.
There's a guy in the diner with his apron on, with his little hat, and he's going like this to the counter while they're talking in the background. It's kind of enhancing the scene. I consider myself a lot more than that. Just kind of I'm not a human Viagra. You know what I mean? I'm a jobber. I have a job to do, and I did it. I didn't want to do it, but
who wrestled before him in his family? Nobody.
No one. But as far as my career and as far as I'm concerned, I'll use a quote out of Tony Atlas's book. Tony Atlas says, the worst enemy Tony Atlas had was Tony Atlas. And that kind of goes for me too. The worst enemy I had was me. And now that I'm older, a lot wiser, a lot more, and I look back at a little wiser, back at the kid that I was, would I do it differently if I had to go back again, knowing what I know now? Would I do it different? Of course I would.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
That's why you never get a second chance.
Right. But,
Right? I mean, how many times I come down, I say to them, dude, look, they'll give you such a push, but you got to get in better shape. They keep telling you, get in shape, get in shape.
Right.
So I room with them quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I go downstairs to get breakfast in the morning, and he was already out of bed and downstairs, and the waitress would bring food, and I'd be like, wow, you can eat all that? He goes, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Pancakes,
and then more food would come.
French toast, sausages.
And then more food would come. And I'm not exaggerating.
He'd be eating egg whites.
He'd order one complete page of the menu.
Wow.
Listen, I had a match once, and Hogan came behind me. And this is what really pissed me off, because I'll be very candid with you. He came behind me and whispered in my ear that I worked too hard to look like that. So, I did what I had to do and got in a lot better shape. But what broke my spirit was I completely transformed my body. And you can check that out if you see my match against, say, Bundy.
Yep.
Then look at my match against The Undertaker. You'll see 2 different bodies. And what really discouraged me, because I'm an overly emotional guy, is I didn't get any recognition. And I didn't get that thumbs up, or that little reward. We're going to book you a little more now. Even still doing jobs, we're going to book you a little more. I never got that little reward for doing what I did, except from Strongbow, who, I'd be walking around the dressing room, he'd be going, Mr. Roma, Mr. Roma. I go, Chief, I look better. I don't look that much better. Okay. Oh, no, come here, Mr. Roma. I'm like, no, I don't think so, Chief. So, that really played with my head.
Yeah.
It really did. You know what? It happened to me recently in life, too, come to think of it. It happened to me about 2008. I lost a tremendous amount of weight. I went to a doctor, and I lost a tremendous amount. He told me to go on South Beach. I did, and I lost like 41 pounds.
Wow.
And I went to go see him, and he's like, this is tremendous. This is amazing. This is unbelievable. I go, wow, you told me what to do. I just did it. He goes, yeah, but nobody listens to me. And then he turned around and he goes, you want to be careful, though. You want to lose too much weight, you get gallstones. And I went, really? And I left the doctor, got a large sausage. I'm just too emotional, you know what I mean? Because I'm thinking to myself, you son of a bitch, you know what I mean? What do you want from me? What do you want from me? You know what I mean? So then I had injuries. I had a lot of separated shoulders that Now I need a total left shoulder replacement. Everything's gone in it. Everything. I go on a pec deck, you hear click, 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 click. It's all gone. I won't get it done because it'll incapacitate me for about 6 weeks, and I can't do that. And it'll probably take me a full year to recover. And I'd rather just live with it. But, you know.
But you know what the best part about this, us, is that we lived it. We are happy with who and what we are right now.
Yeah.
We have family. We wake up every day.
Yeah.
We're happy, and you know, tomorrow's promised to no one.
That's right.
So you know, we're blessed. We're truly blessed. We're not chasing a dream at 50 and 60 years old,
No.
maybe 70, some of them,
No.
still trying to chase that, you know.
Yeah, no.
It was put to me, I believe, in the best way. When the wave that I rode, you know, because I was in it during the peaks, right? We were in it during the peaks.
The biggest height.
The biggest height that there was in professional wrestling. Well, when that wave came crashing to the shore, some guys got back and they swam back out on their surfboard and looked for that wave. I didn't. I stayed on the beach. We stayed on the beach, and we were good. We're gonna get the sun now, and we're going. That's right. And we're gonna tan up, and we're gonna be fine with ourselves. While you guys keep trying to chase and find that wave again, that's never going to come.
No.
Okay, that was a tsunami we rode, and there is not another one. Okay, and that's why you see the Ric Flairs, you know, chasing their tails, and some of these other guys that just keep coming back and keep coming back for what? What are they trying? Is you know, are their minds really that small that this is their high, that this is really what they need? Okay, let me put it to you this way, to all your fans. Listen to you wrestlers that are out there that are older than me or even close to being as old as me. Retire.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
You're old.
Yeah.
You can't do it anymore.
Right.
You couldn't do it then. You can't do it now.
You know, the thing about it is pro wrestling back in the 80s was kind of like disco, only longer. So you figure disco lasted from, well, no, maybe the same length, maybe 1975 to 79. In 1979, they were in Chicago, and they blew up that explosion. They blew up all the disco records in Chicago in the stadium. I think it was Wrigley Field. They blew them all up. You had 1984 to about 1989 until the scandals started coming out. So between that time of WrestleMania 1, prior to WrestleMania 1, where you saw everything unfolded, pro wrestling was like disco. It became a trend, meaning this. You had a person that never watched wrestling before in their life. All of a sudden, they're tuning in. All of a sudden, Hollywood's getting involved. They're watching it. They're attending the matches. So it became a fad. It became very popular. And you had Saturday Night Main Event, with the, before Saturday Night Live. And it became mainstream primetime TV. It went from midnight Saturday, that's it. That's it. After harness racing from Yonkers, came wrestling at midnight. That's it.
Yep.
That's all you had. If you missed it, you had to wait till next Saturday.
You're right.
To primetime TV. So it exploded. And like Roma says, that was the wave. And that wave will never come back. Never. Never.
No. I mean, again, WWF, these wrestling organizations, he's making a ton of money, and that's great. I mean, he built his empire. But the product sucks. The storylines suck. The wrestlers aren't of caliber like they should be.
Right.
And I just look at it and say, damn, if he had better storylines, better caliber, if he's making $100 million or $1 billion a year, he could be making $2 billion a year with a better product. So, again, it behooves me to understand. I can't wrap my brain around why he's not making a better product. I mean, does he not care that he could get rid of people like that and no one's going to miss him? Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's the winning formula. Maybe that's the winning recipe. I don't know. But again, I just don't understand why he doesn't want to make more money. Hell, in PAPW, the storylines we run are better than theirs.
It is,
and when
they
we
are.
bring in characters, we create characters with our wrestlers, the next thing you know, and if I'm lying, you could check this, they come up with the same characters. Or we had a flag match. What did they have? They had a flag match. You know, we had, you know, something else, and then they came up with it. And then we had this, and then someone said, hey, Paul, we saw this the other night. I'm like, are you kidding?
That's the
They're watching our
that's
storylines,
the-
and they're just reusing.
That's the
refiltering
problem
them.
with social media. And you know what? I tell the students all the time, if you don't think there's a stooge in that office that's only job is to watch that, that social media to pick up on the independent wrestling, you know, there are, and that's what he's talking about. They're picking up on, listen, we're just set in our ways, and we're from a different time. You know, you have to remember something. Back in the 80s, we are to what these guys are to us now, we were to the guys from the 60s and the 80s. You see, because I met the guys from the 60s. Do you know what they would do? They'd go like this. What are you looking at? They go, nice and clean. So I'd go up to Strongbow and I'd go, am I in trouble? He'd go, no, you're all right. He goes, listen, if this wasn't the 60s and you're in the position you're in, I would tell you to go home and get books and just keep rubbing your ears. And rubbing your ears and rubbing your ears and rubbing them until they become cauliflowered. So when you walked in the dressing room, they respect you. But it's not that way anymore. But they're back there. Yeah. You know, they look at your ears. They know that they think you're green. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's what we are to these guys now. You know, we're the guys with the cauliflower ears. Well, I'm not going to apologize about it. Paul Roma, a wrestler. Greg Valentine, wrestler. Don Morocco, that's a wrestler. Yeah. Hulk Hogan, that's a wrestler. Paul Orndorff, that's a wrestler. You know what I mean? You get these guys to come in here. Even JYD, even though he wasn't that talented in the ring, his gimmick was bigger than his skills, but he was a large man. That's a wrestler. You know what I mean? So, you know, I'm not going to count the freaks. I'm not going to count the Andre the Giant, the Big John Studs, the Big Cat Ernie Ladd. I'm not, you know, Bundy, you know, I'm not going to count these guys. But these, you know, let's think about, you think Mickey can say to Rocky the same thing he said in Rocky 3 when he said, are you crazy? I've seen some wrestlers as big as condominiums. And then Hogan came down the aisle and he goes, how come they're carrying them? And Mickey goes, he's walking. You can't, you know what, you can't say that. Because either they're in the ring or you could put a collar on them and they could be a Chippendale dancer. Listen, I never accomplished it. He did, but I never did. Yeah. He accomplished it even before he knew how to lock up. So my trainer said when I was 17, I was still in wrestling school. He said, if you want to be successful in this business, what you have to do is when you get into the ring, that guy sitting there with his wife and 2 kids, that the most exciting thing he does is go out for hot dogs and chocolate milk on Sunday. He's got to look at you going in that ring and go, God, I wish I was him. I never accomplished that. You know what I mean? But obviously to a guy that never touched a weight in his life or just played racquetball, you know, to watch Paul Roma go into the ring and go, Jesus, you know what I mean? That's the guy that goes, and his wife is saying, yeah, I wish you looked like that.
Well, I know one thing you did accomplish was that you were inducted into the New England Wrestling Hall of Fame, correct?
Yeah, New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. Yeah.
That's a great accomplishment in itself.
Well, you know, Joe Bruin's organization is a really good organization, and I appreciate it. And you know, what happened with me, I'm fortunate. I'm fortunate because I was in the position I was in. Now, guys in my position, I never sold 1 ticket. Nobody in Cincinnati, Ohio said, oh my God, Mario Mancini's wrestling tonight. I better rush to the box office. I didn't sell any tickets. So I didn't sell any. So a guy in my position, they can get rid of tomorrow, and they didn't. So obviously I had something to keep me there for 8 years, and I'm proud of that. Okay, I had what Vince wanted. If anybody badmouthed me at one time, or Vince or Strongbow said, no, we like him, we need him, what happened was just timing. And here's my recognition. Before WrestleMania 1, I did a stretcher match with Paul Orndorff. Got pile drive on a concrete floor. I did a stretcher match with Bundy before WrestleMania 2. That's the last TV the people would see. At WrestleMania 4, I think it was, I did a stretcher with Savage before WrestleMania 4. And it just so happens that whether Strongbow had vision or whatever, I don't know if he did or he didn't, but I was Big Bully Busick's debut match. I was Demolition's debut match twice. I was the Hart Foundation's debut match with S.D. Jones. I was Ray's debut match, Hercules' debut match, and I was the debut match of The Undertaker. So I think a guy like Joe Bruin takes a look at that and says, well, even in the position that he's in, he was kind of significant, and I'm a novelty now. Mario Mancini is kind of a novelty, the jobber from the '80s with the porn stash and the milky white skin. Roma got inducted too. So
I never looked at him that way.
Yeah, well, if you look at the notes on my YouTube videos, there's a big LOL. It says, that's where I stole it from. They go, who could forget Mario Mancini with that 80s porn stash and that milky white skin? And then somebody would say, did they have tanning booths back then? Or you think the guy would have thought to go to a tanning booth a couple of times, they'd really hammer me.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
This is great. So at this point, we're starting to wind down the interview. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a break. Then when we come back, we're going to come back with what I call the shotgun questions, all right? Shotgun questions. We'll be right back momentarily. For you guys that are watching right now, live via Facebook, don't go anywhere. We're going to take a commercial break, and we're going to come back with Paul Perez, Mario Mancini, and Paul Roma with the shotgun questions. Be right back momentarily.
Despair over auto glass repair. For rapid, reliable auto glass replacement and repair, trust Bridgeport Auto Glass with over 25 years experience. We do all glass replacement, windshields, mirrors, door glass, sunroofs. For cars and a wide variety of trucks, we'll get you back on the road fast. Same day and mobile service available. Our fully licensed technicians can come to you, serving both New Haven and Fairfield counties, credit cards and all insurance accepted. Bridgeport Auto Glass, skilled, efficient, and affordable.
Did you know that as a defendant, you have a right to bail? The 8th and 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution guarantee this. This is something that a reliable, licensed bail bondsman should know. The team at Aces Bail Bonds knows this and much more. For fast, reliable bail bond service, call Aces Bail Bonds now.
All right, and welcome, guys, back to the Super League Entertainment Studio. Your boy, Jason Rodriguez, and we are here in the studio for a live broadcast with 3 former WWF wrestlers, Paul Perez, Mario Mancini, and Paul Roma. Listen, we've been having a good time so far. I mean, you guys been sharing a lot of knowledge, a wealth of knowledge. And, I just truly appreciate you guys coming down to the studio tonight to just share.
Are you buying us dinner after this? I'm just letting you know.
I just want to know myself.
I might have to take these guys out to dinner, man.
Yeah.
But I know you guys eat a lot, so I don't know if I want to do that.
Buffet.
Buffet. There you go.
Yeah.
Hometown buffet. They don't exist, so I can't take you now.
Yeah.
So we're back. We're gonna jump into the shotgun questions. You ready for these? Here we go. Oh, here we go. What's your favorite song?
What's my favorite song?
Yeah.
Wow. I thought it was going to be a wrestling question.
No, these are random questions, man. These questions are going to put you on the spot.
What's my favorite song? I don't know. That song by Fun. What's it called? I forget the name.
Sing it.
Oh yeah, and everything will shatter.
I think I seen you singing in the ring one time.
You did see me singing in the
Yeah.
Yeah. Singing the blues. That's what I was singing. No, May the road rise up to meet you by Fun. I think that's the name of it. It's one of my favorites.
Come on, Mario.
Michael Bolton.
My favorite song? My favorite song is I Like Big Butts by Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Oh, damn.
Baby got back.
That'd be
I know you can
Baby
sing
got
that one.
back.
How about Paul?
Santeria by Sublime.
Okay. Favorite movie?
Oh, wow.
I
Heaven Can Wait.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I was wrong. My favorite movie?
Uh-huh.
It's got to be Rocky 2.
Oh, okay. That's a good one. That's a good one. Definitely represent boxing here, in case if you ever wondered. If you've been wondering why the gloves are all over. You see posters and all that.
And speaking of boxing, my favorite is The Champ with John Voight and Ricky Schroeder.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
great movie.
Okay.
Great movie. I wasn't born then, but great movie.
And since we're on the subject of boxing, I do know that you went pro.
I did.
And you had, what, like 3 bouts?
I had 3
fights?
bouts. Yeah. Kevin Rooney was my trainer.
Uh-huh.
Tyson's former trainer.
Mm-hmm.
It was an angle kind of thing. They wanted the first pro wrestler to fight the first pro football player, which was Gastineau. And then before we could bring it together, Gastineau got beat, and that was pretty much the end of it. Which was good, because getting smashed in the face at 5 o'clock in the morning wasn't my not my first choice of activities to have. So yeah, it's okay. It worked out fine. Had one of the fastest knockouts, 59 seconds in heavyweight.
Wow.
But yeah, so 2-1, 2 knockouts. I'm good. Call it a day. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Keep this.
Great experience. Favorite food?
My favorite food?
Yeah.
Wow. I always have to go with steak. Raw. Still mooing.
Still moving.
Still, absolutely.
Is that how you built the body that you had?
Most of the time, I was probably eating steak. Back then, I was probably eating steak probably 5 times a week.
Even breakfast?
Out of 7. Steak and eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just had to try and keep the body fueled, and I ate clean though, really clean. I mean, I trimmed it. People thought I was a surgeon the way I trim a steak. Yeah, so it's just one of the things. A lot of filet mignon, loved it.
Wow. Mario.
I'd have to go both sides here. My favorite meal on are 10 egg whites boiled, not fried, with apple cider vinegar, pepper, and mustard. That's on.
Wow.
It just tastes so good with a lot of pepper on it.
Yep.
Off.
Oh, hell no.
Off. My favorite meals are pizza, pasta, donuts, cake.
I like them all.
Entenmann's.
Now that's the Mancini.
Now, so there's 2 sides. There's an on side and an off side. If I ever God forbid, if I ever got convicted of murder and I was on death row, when that day came, it would be hot dogs and donuts.
Well, I tell you what, if you ever did get convicted and end up in the penitentiary, you will have some hot dogs. The only thing is they're color green, like you should.
Yeah, no. This is my death row meal. We're talking Nathan's here. Hot dogs and donuts, and they can't be from Dunkin' Donuts or not even Krispy Kreme. They have to be from that mom and pop, because people like that airy glazed donut. I like that caked glazed donut. However, saying all this is the reason why that I got my foot up on my knee and I can't feel it. So I took enough sugar.
They do make good donuts in prison,
Yeah, listen.
Yeah, it has about maybe 8,000 calories in one
does.
donut, but it works.
Well, yeah, listen, man, I've taken in enough sugar to make Willy Wonka jealous, so I'm all good.
How about you, Paul?
I would have to say sushi or Mexican food.
Okay. Besides wrestling, what is your favorite sport?
All of them. All of them. Not a sport that I don't like.
I know you're probably going to say the Yankees.
Baseball, without a doubt.
Yeah,
Let me tell you something. My first dream was to be a Major League Baseball player. I can hit the cover off the ball. It's just I was a very mediocre glove, and it took me about 6.7 seconds to get down to first base, which was no good. But if
they put a donut on first base,
then I would have got there. I would have got there. I would have went there in 4.2, but which is the speed they want. The first base like 4.4. But baseball was my passion. This is why I was always excited to sit down and talk to Randy Savage about it. Also, Joey Morella, Gorilla Monsoon's kid, who was a referee, sadly passed away in a car accident. He was a AAA or AA pitcher. So I would talk baseball with these guys all the time, to the point where Joey Morella and I brought gloves, the TV taping. We'd go back out in a ring truck and throw the ball around, Baseball was always an intense passion, to the point where I did play for the National Adult Baseball Association from 1998 to 2002. Hardball.
Yeah.
Well, that's where they found Alfonso Soriano in that league. So baseball is an incredible passion of mine.
Wow. Yeah. How about you, Paul?
Women's beach volleyball.
See, I don't know to take him serious or not. That's the problem. Guy's the biggest women's beach volleyball.
Wow. So what hand did you hit the ball with?
I did it.
Oh, man. All right. Next question. Favorite thing you like to read?
Favorite thing I like to read? Religions.
Like the Bible?
Yes, but no, all the different religions, whether it's Buddha, Buddhism, or Christianity, or any Zen. I like to, without getting religious on you. So I was brought up Catholic, but as I got older and started, thinking on my own, when I say that, I mean the utmost respect. When your parents drill into your head, this is it. There's one God, and that's the end. There's heaven and hell, and okay, I get it, and I got all that. But I believe that it's okay, that there may be more than just my God, just your God. If you believe that a cow is, your sacred being, then so be it. If the Egyptians had, people from outer space were their gods, then so be it. So I try to read up on all of that and keep a very open mind when it comes to it.
Excellent.
I like human behavior. So, I try to do some leisure reading as much as I can, since I was bogged down with law school. And when you go to law school, there's no time for any leisure reading. But I like human behavior, especially relationships. There's an author, his name is David Rico. They're common things that he talks about. So it's sort of like if you went through a really bad relationship, just horrible, and you meet someone new, and all of a sudden you're dragging that junk into the new relationship. He's the guy that writes the book When the Past is Present. and he'll tell you about human behavior and why people do it and what's going through their mind and to prevent them from doing that. And you know, he's wrote so many books on human behavior that from the time people are children, they have one parent, one mother, not the father, not the mother, the effect emotionally it has on them, abusive siblings or step siblings. He goes through the whole thing, and I like to educate myself with that because, you know, I'm the kind of person that likes to understand why people do what they do.
Yeah.
You know, so.
He hasn't figured me out, though.
No, listen, I was wrong 2 questions I got wrong. Very disappointed.
You were on point with all the others.
Very disappointed. I had the Pope of Greenwich Village, and he came with Heaven Can Wait. And I had salmon, and he came with steak. So.
How about you, Paul?
Fiction, mostly crime stories. My favorite book is a book called Piranhas by Harold Robbins. Awesome story about mafia and drug cartels and stuff like that. So.
Interesting. All right. What's your favorite curse word?
What's my favorite curse word?
Yeah.
Wow.
You want me to say it?
Man, let it rip.
Well, I say it in a different way than most people would say.
Yeah, he does.
So I just say, fuck.
Yeah, he doesn't do the you. You know how he says it like? The Sheik. That's the way the Sheik says it.
Yeah.
Back.
Yeah. Even when my wife does something, you know, she'll say, blah, 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 and I'm like, fuck. It's like, really? You have to say it like that? You got to say it that loud? I'm like, yeah, well. So, yeah, that's it. I don't know if it's my favorite, but I guess I say it more than any.
Well, I think I have to. My dear friend, the Guardian of Chaos from the Mario Chaos and the Kid Show is watching right now, and I think he would be very proud that my favorite curse word we share in common, which would be the Guardian of Chaos. You're a cocksucker. That's my favorite one. Go ahead.
Mine would have to be my road rage word. You motherfucker.
Oh,
the Guardian of Chaos. He's watching this, huh? Oh, shout out to the Guardian.
Listen, nothing gets by him.
Wait a minute, hold on.
Look what he's doing. Chaos. Brother, look what he's doing. Chaos, look what he's doing.
Oh, man.
Good stuff.
Oh, man. All right. Let me hit you off with the last question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say to you when you arrive at the pearly gates?
You did a good job while you're down there. Actually, that's what he's going to say. That's what you meant to say, right? Did you word it that way?
Yes.
What is God going to say to me?
What is God going to say to you?
I'm proud of you. Did a good job while you're down there. No doubt in my mind. If he does it, I'll whoop his ass. At least I'll try. I'm just playing. I don't mean any disrespect. But no, I'm good. You know, that's what I was telling you before. We're all in a good place.
Yes.
You know, we do a lot of good things, and what I really love about what we do is that we're not looking for anything in return. You know, we're not looking for good karma to be, you know, bestowed upon us. We're not looking to hit the lottery because we did good things. We do these things out of the goodness, the kindness of our heart. All of us, Big Steve, and even the wrestlers in our school, because Lord knows they don't make much money working for us. So, I think, and I'm just going to say this, they're going to answer their own, but I think God to be proud of all of us.
You know, he's right. I mean, we're not looking for anything to come back at us, you know, but we're proven, just like Big Steve has proven, you know, and that'll show when he wins the mayor election for the town of East Haven. That'll show. He's running for mayor, and you know, he's going to do a lot of great things as mayor of that town. What would God say to me?
Yes, sir.
Could I use gestures?
Sure.
We have no donuts here.
So I'm God, and I'm standing in front of him. This is what he's going to do. He's going to go, you tried. Come on. I got donuts in the back. Can I get another shot at it? Yeah, we're not.
Yeah.
You listen.
The bright side, you don't have to do jobs up there.
Right, listen.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
just go in the back. There's donuts back there. You gave it your best shot. Just go back there. That's it.
I won't even get that. He's going to be Perez. No, not there. I don't see your name.
Oh, man. You're going to be like, oh, here it is.
No.
You got lucky. Oh, man. All right. Well, excellent, man. Really quick, before we go, I just want to acknowledge a couple of people that are watching on Facebook. We have Mr. M. Rob Marrero, who's just saying, giving you guys a shout out.
Thank you very much.
Back.
And also we have the sergeant, Ralph Murray.
Ralph Murray. What's up, Ralph?
Yo, Ralph, you lose any weight yet?
And he wrote out here, the bosses.
The boss.
Bosses.
Listen, you know what? Again, to all the military, thank you.
Thank you.
Can't thank you all enough. You know, you went and put yourself out there. You didn't even know us, and you were protecting us, and we're grateful and thankful
Absolutely.
for that. So I give Ralph a hard time all the time. Try to keep him straight. Can't do it, but I try.
Excellent. Well, with that said, I just want to give each and every one of you an opportunity to give your final word, your final say. What do you want to say to the people that are watching, to your fans, to the viewing audience? What would you say to them before we go?
Well, I'm glad that they're watching this show. Greatly appreciate it. Hope you like everything that we had to say. If you didn't, too bad. We already said it. Can't take it back. They're not going to take it back. But no, I thank my fans anytime I get a chance for the years that they supported me, and I greatly appreciate it. And again, thank the military. Thank the good people on the police force and the great flag of America, and God bless everybody.
Mario.
For those of you that remember, I'd like to apologize because you went from the living room TV just to grab an apple in the kitchen and my match was over. I'm sorry. But May 11th is a special show for this kid, Nicky Fasicchio. We all are very fortunate to be here, and the older you get, you realize that, well, it's not just the people on Facebook saying it or whatever Facebook's saying. Sometimes life gets a little rough, and you do get up in the morning and go, well, I'm happy I woke up, but somebody had a lot more misfortune than that, so there's this kid mowing a lawn and a tree falls on him, and he was dead for a good 3 to 5 minutes, which affected the oxygen to his brain, and obviously he's not the kid that he was, and he's just a kid. His parents literally have, it's not just a saying, like, you cost me $1 million. It's not like that. Mm. The parents literally have $20 million of medical bills. So Paradise Alley is running a show on May 11th, and the proceeds of the ticket sales are going to go to the Fasicchio family to put toward the medical bills. And I can't tell you the importance of, even if you don't like wrestling, and I guarantee you the storylines and the matches this man puts together, you will leave going, you know what? Like many other fans have done over the years that said, you know what, I didn't think I would like this, but this was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And he'll hear it in an earshot and just be standing there going, and he's not his head going, you bet your ass it was. You know what I mean? So even if you're not a wrestling fan, come down and support this cause. I'd like to fill the hockey rink with 1,000 people. I'd like to give this family as much money as we possibly can give them for this. I mean, you talk about, there's people that are fortunate that hit the Powerball for $627 million. well, in reverse, this is what happened to this kid. You know what I mean? You're mowing the lawn and a tree just falls on you. It's like getting struck by lightning.
Yeah.
You know, it's so unfortunate. And this kid, just a high school kid, has his whole life in front of him, you know. So it really is a serious cause. And you know, Paradise Alley only does causes that are serious. Like the 13th was for the LGBTQ youth.
That was a great time.
And a lot of these times, these kids have a hard time. I know because I have a nephew that committed suicide in 2010. That was a transsexual, and he couldn't take the stress, and he killed himself. So, you know, it was very important to raise money for that awareness and support them. It's important. We do shows for autism, for the military. You know, for whatever reason, right down to animal shelters. So, you know, to come out May 11th is really important. I hope everybody can do that. You know, what's $10? You know, what's $10?
Mario, you guys have a website, right?
We do.
And the best way for individuals to get tickets, phone number, best way to contact you guys?
ParadiseAlleyProWrestling.com.
Okay.
Or Paradise Alley Wrestling on the Facebook.
Right.
Right.
If they go on Facebook, they'll see our posters.
Right.
There's a link there to buy tickets to the show.
Okay.
You're welcome to friend me on Facebook, Mario Mancini. I don't delete anybody's friend request unless I scroll down and, you know, I see porn.
Yeah.
And I delete it.
Yeah.
You know, obviously it's a stupid, you know, friend request. But if I see that, you know, there's mutual friends, even if there's not mutual friends and there's just wrestling there, or say Tito Santana's there, they don't know I'm a good friend with Tito, but Tito's there, I'll go, oh, it's a wrestling fan, and I'll hit confirm, you know.
Yeah.
So
Name of the show.
the name of the show is Rally Cry, and it's May 11th, 71 Hudson Street. It's the East Haven Veterans Memorial Hockey Rink in East Haven. Bell time 7 o'clock. It'd be great if we can get exactly what the show is called, a big rally for this kid, and really help the parents out as much as we can.
Right, and you know what makes us successful is if you all show up, then our show is successful, the cause is successful, the monies that are going to be put towards helping him will be a major help. So hopefully we're going to see as many people as possible, and I guarantee you, you're going to love the show. If you don't, then I strongly advise you to come up to me and tell me what you didn't like about the show. I haven't had that happen once yet. It's not going to happen again. It's a great cause. So hopefully we're going to see a boatload of people at the show. Paul?
And you can bring your family out, and it's not going to cost your arm and a leg. Lots of times you see fans leaving. I saw a guy leaving with his wife and kids saying, $40. We had a whole night out.
Had a blast.
You know, take the wife and the two kids, $40. You can't beat it.
Yeah.
It's cheaper than going to the movies.
Yeah. I mean, there's food there, there's concessions. So, you know what? Just show up. It's a great cause. If nothing else, do something good, you know, for yourself, for somebody else, you know, and, you know, let it play forward.
And it's family friendly.
Yeah, and pay it forward, and you'll feel good about it. So, thank you all.
How about you, Paul? Final words that you want to share.
I'm just blessed. I've known these guys for 33 years, and I can, you know, one night during the week, Monday, Wednesday, or Saturday, I can just get in my car and hang out with my buddies that I've been, you know, known for so long, you know. So I'm just blessed and thankful for, you know, everything I've got.
You know, I was really touched, man, and I like I said, I'm an over-emotional guy, but when we opened up...
Are you going to start
No,
crying?
when we opened up this place, and Big Steve said, let's open it up, get a hold of Roma. So I just... I love this story. Thanks for all. I go, hey, Roma, we want to open up a wrestling school. Are you in? Yep. I said, are you sure? He went, yep. And I said, all right, Roma's in, right? But we opened it up, and we had an old, dingy, stupid ring that I made a bad purchase on. And
that's the one that we moved.
Yeah, I made a bad purchase on. And, you know, we started out, and here comes Perez. You know what I mean? Where that ring was, where pro wrestling is, that blood's going to start boiling, and there you see Perez. You know what I mean? And you know what? We're so lucky because, you know what? I don't know how old you are, but, when you become 52 or 54 or 55 or 59, can you say you hang out weekly with the guys that you hung out with when you were 18? Yeah. You going to be able to say that? Maybe you're not, but I get to say that. You know what I mean?
Bond.
It's such a gift.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? That's such a gift. And
how many people are even alive that long?
Right.
Have friends.
Especially in this business.
That's why. That's what a lot of the times I'll ask him or Perez will pass something by each other. That's why it always blows my mind because Roma will be like, "Hey," I'll be like, "Are you serious, man? Roma? Whatever, man." You know what I mean? It's like, wait, don't just do what you need to do. You know what I mean? So it's like, we're very lucky and very thankful for the time we get to spend together. And it's a great organization. We're not greedy. It's not a straight gate. You know what I mean? It's not a straight gate. God bless wrestling promoters out there. They have a big bank and they book the big talent and they get the $15,000, $20,000 gate and they're walking away and their pockets are full and they're fat, dumb, and happy. And some particular promoters are really fat. So,
who could it be? But they need this.
Wait, who could it be? Well, let me add one: fat, dumb, short, and happy. But we feel collectively that what. When I went up and handed that money to New Haven Pride, and that guy's eyes filled up with tears, I think maybe he thought he was getting $200. I don't know. But when I gave him $1,100, he went, "Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?" I said, "No, this is yours."
Or the veterans.
Or the veterans.
Or the veterans.
And it's not a lot by any stretch of imagination, but it's all we have. That's what we made.
Right, it's what we made.
And that's why this show is critical.
Right.
That we pack this place.
Right,
so,
it is critical we pack it. And let me tell you something. I know. Saturday night I had a really good night's sleep because you know what? I knew we did something. We did the right thing, and we did something. And I sent we have a Paradise Alley chat room. He had sent me a follow-up email, and I put it in the chat room, and it was just the best email a company could get. Mm-hmm. And it sounds corny, but that's what makes getting up. That's what makes it worthwhile.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what makes it worthwhile.
Hey, thanks for having us on the show.
Yeah, definitely, man. I appreciate you guys, your willingness to come down and be a part of the show. And the show was a little more extended than the previous shows. I mean, we usually go for an hour, but tonight we went almost 2 hours, and that's because we have 3 guests. And you guys shared a wealth of information.
Well, we hope a lot of people didn't log off on you. You know what I mean?
No, people stuck it out.
Okay.
And people left comments, and truly appreciate each and every one of you guys, man, for coming down.
Thank you for having us
and being a part of this creation that we established here, this platform, and I truly appreciate you guys.
Well, thanks for
you guys are
us.
legends, man, and your legacy is extraordinary.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
It really is. I grew up watching you in the ring.
No,
man.
you didn't. I'm not that old.
I grew up watching you in the ring.
I know, you were this big. I don't want to hear it. All right, this is going to get ugly. Someone cut the camera.
No, we're not cutting anything yet. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. It's an honor. Paul, I'm going to reach over. Oh, there we go. And really quick, before we go, I just want to thank each and every one of you that tuned in tonight, that stuck it out for the 2 hours, almost 2 hours we spent here in the studio with, Paul Roma, Mario Mancini, and Paul Perez, man. And we had a good time. They shared so much with us. And I just wish that each and every one of you that stuck it out with us, that you are able to take something that they shared with us and that you can apply it and make it a part of your life. And listen, we do this every Tuesday night, and we do this for you, the people of the community. Our goal is to bring you hope, inspiration, encouragement, some words of motivation. That's why we do this show. That's the reason why we created this platform. Super League Entertainment is for you, the people of the community. So tune in next week, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. right here, same time, same channel. We're back with another exclusive interview. We have attorney Mike Riley from Riley Up in the city of Bridgeport, Connecticut. And we also have Jabin Joe Wilson, a boxer out of, I believe he's from West Hartford, Connecticut, a professional boxer. They'll both be here in the studio next week for exclusive interviews. So I'm going to ask you, to tune in next week and join us live here at 7 p.m. Again, thank you. Your host, Jason Rodriguez. Have a good night.